Family regrets moving to Summerville, South Carolina. Are you wondering if Summerville in Charleston is the right for you? Maybe you're concerned about having buyer's remorse or hometown blues. Well, I'm going to talk about two stories in this video where I had two different families have completely two different experiences where they found out Summerville just wasn't the place for them. And so this is a very real conversation I have with a lot of folks who are looking to move here. They're trying to decide if it's the right place for them. And a lot of people do it by wanting to see houses in person. They think they'll discover an area and they'll understand it more by seeing houses in person. And this is really not the case. This isn't true. You're gonna get a better taste of an area by actually pretending like you live there, going shopping in the grocery stores, driving through the areas, going and doing regular day things. That's gonna be what's gonna be able to tell you if you really like an area or if it's not for you. And depending on where you're coming from in the country, this can really make or break your decision. And a lot of people move here, relocate, and decide it's not for them. And believe it or not, there's more of that than anything. So I'm gonna go over two stories that I have personally had working with clients. I have changed all of the name information, but just know that I have worked with these folks. This is personal experience stories, but something to consider, especially if you're in a similar situation. First, let's talk about the Thompson family. When the Thompsons decided to move from the rolling hills of Northern California to Summerville, they were filled with excitement, okay? They were so excited and a bit of nervousness. I could definitely tell Peter, who was the husband, he had just landed a promising job here in Charleston. And I mean, he was gonna be getting paid good money to relocate here. And the family was super eager. They were excited. Everybody had a very positive attitude just to embrace the Southern hospitality and enjoy the slower pace of life and be able to go to a beach that's actually, you know, hot, warm water. Because they were just so used to that Northern California water and it was always cold. So they definitely wanted that different lifestyle. So Summerville seemed like the perfect spot. It was close to Peter's work, plus it just had that charming small town feel that his wife was looking for. Now, fast forward 6 months into their new life, they're here, they closed on their home, they found themselves questioning their decision a little bit. So Peter's wife, Emily, and their two children, and for the story, we'll call them Jack and Lucy, had chosen a newly built house in one of the Summerville subdivisions, the master plan communities. The home was absolutely beautiful, spacious, and modern. I love this house. I mean, we were walking through and I'm like, well, you guys, if you ever want to sell or something, let me know. I mean, it was an absolute kind of one-off home. It was on a great lot, had everything, just kind of checked all the boxes. So at first, everything seemed perfect. The kids were adjusting to the new school. Peter's job was going well. Emily enjoyed decorating the house and she really, found her place within the community. However, it didn't take long for cracks to appear. The initial charm of Summerville began to kind of wear off as they faced unexpected challenges that, for one, Peter's commute to Charleston now was starting to become a daily nightmare. I mean, he was looking at anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half because they changed what times they needed him to come in. What they thought would be a manageable drive now turned into an hour-long ordeal in traffic, kind of leaving him frustrated by the time he got home. Getting home at 6:30, you can't really do a whole lot at that time. You got to eat dinner, put the kids to bed, and lifestyle's kind of shot there. So he was frustrated and exhausted by the time he got home. And Emily too, she found herself feeling isolated. While she had made new friends, she just kind of missed the vibrant community and social life that she had left behind in California. And guys, this happens. You do get a little bit of hometown blues. I got it at first. I mean, it's something that happens. But keep this in mind. For Emily, Summerville, with its quaint small town atmosphere, just lacked the bustling energy that she had grown accustomed to in California. Because California, it's everything move. There's lots happening. She missed the variety of activities too and amenities that a larger city could offer. She had clubs that she belonged to. She had groups and, you drive from one side of the city and then you go have lunch on this side, and there was just a lot of different differentiating parts it was an adjustment for her. And the kids started to struggle as well. I mean, Jack, he was a high school sophomore. He had a little difficulty fitting in at his new school. He missed his old friends just like every kid that age. Not to mention, he still played video games with them online. So he didn't really have the extracurricular activities that, he was passionate about that would help him make friends here. Lucy, she was in middle school. She found herself transitioning equally tough. It was just different. It's different when they're that age, missing the familiarity and the support of her old school and friends. But the final straw came when the Thompsons actually told me they visited Mount Pleasant for a week and a half. They actually went, they were having work done in their house and they needed to get out. So they were like, we rented an Airbnb in Mount Pleasant. We just stayed there for a week and a half. And I was like, cool. They instantly were just captivated by the town's vibrant community, the beautiful neighborhoods, the proximity to the beach. Peter's commute to work was like 15 minutes, if that. So it was much more manageable. And Emily felt a sense of belonging that she hadn't felt in Summerville, because Mount Pleasant, they just, they have different groups, they have different things. Some of the women there have different styles. It's kind of like there's just different energy. And if you're looking for that energy, it may be in certain areas like that. So it's a conversation we always need to have before you buy here, is just, hey, what am I looking for from a lifestyle standpoint? This is really important. Some of you don't get too deep with me on that stuff, but I feel it's important. If you want to find the right place, we need to kind of unpack your lifestyle a little bit and what you're going to be looking for. So after a lot of discussion, the Thompsons made the very tough decision to sell their brand new home in Summerville. The real estate market was favorable, but the process was still stressful for them. In the end, the Thompsons were able to manage to sell that home. We got it under contract, and just a few months later, they moved into their new home in Mount Pleasant. The transition wasn't easy, okay, because you got to think, like, they moved California, Summerville, and now Mount Pleasant. And they felt, though, when I handed them the keys and we were done at the closing table, they felt like a weight had just lifted off their shoulders. I mean, Peter's commute completely improved. Emily found a welcoming community of people other moms and groups that she was looking for, that she kind of similarly had in California. And the kids actually started to thrive in their new schools. The schools had different programs. One school had a program in Mount Pleasant for video game and coding and stuff like that. So again, each person kind of found what they were really looking for. Looking back, the Thompsons realized that while Summerville wasn't the right fit for them, it had led them to where they needed to be. Their story is a reminder that finding the right place to call home isn't straightforward all the time, guys, but it's worth the journey, especially if you give me the opportunity to assist you with that process. The next story I want to bring up and talk to you about is a story that I'm going to call Empty Regrets, because this one is for sure. So when Mark and Susan Bennett retired from their fast-paced careers in New York City, they both told me Ryan, we just dream of a more relaxed, tranquil lifestyle. Like, everything with New York City, we just want to leave it all there. We've raised our kids, we've watched them leave the nest, and now we're ready to embrace this slower paced lifestyle. We've done some research and a couple of visits, and we have decided Summerville, South Carolina is where we want to be. It's charming, the historic homes, we love it all. We just want to be there. It's a perfect retreat. I said, okay. Only 3 months into their new life in Summerville, however, the Bennetts found themselves rethinking their decision quite quickly. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, why, Ryan? The move had initially seemed perfect for them. It was ideal. They traded their bustling Manhattan apartment for a spacious, picturesque home on a quiet street in Summerville. The warm southern hospitality and beautiful landscape seemed like a dream come true at first, because Mark enjoyed gardening in the new backyard and Susan loved strolling through, the historic district, going shopping, going to the Summerville Farmers Market every Saturday morning, checking out all the local boutiques. But soon, the reality of Summerville's rapid growth, all the building and all the new things coming, kind of started to set in and kind of made them feel like, holy moly, isn't this what we just came from? The town that they thought would be peaceful sanctuary is now a booming expansion. And I kind of feel like a lot of people get this belief. They believe like, hey, once we buy here, nobody else is building a house. They're done. Like our house that they're building, last house they're building, nobody else buying a house. Nope, this is it. They're shutting down the borders, locking it down, people. Nobody else is moving to Summerville, just me.
This is my town.
Guys, you have to be realistic. With new homes and businesses popping up everywhere, and with them comes a lot of construction hum, maybe the work trucks rumbling down the street, and for them, their street was dawn to dusk. I mean, and the noise traffic began, and it just became an unwelcome echo in their life. And Mark and Susan were like, Ryan, we want no part of this. We thought we were gonna like this, but we're actually yearning for us to head back to the city. Maybe not in the city, but somewhere outside of it. So Mark and Susan found themselves in the serenity they thought they had hoped for. Instead of having these lazy afternoons on their porch, they dealt with the persistent sounds of building, the influx of the new residents. The small town feel that they had fallen in love with was quickly vanishing. Frustrated and disappointed, the Bennetts made the tough decision to sell their home and move back to the familiarity of the small suburb outside of New York City. They listed their house, and we kind of knew going in, like 3 months, boy, we are not going to have a big return. But valuing their peace of mind over financial gain was more important. So after a few months, their home sold and they returned to New York, settling in a quiet, leafy suburb, and they found I hope they found the tranquility that they've been looking for. But the transition was very bittersweet. They had loved the idea of Summerville, like most people, but realized it just wasn't the right fit for them at that time. The Bennett's experience is a valuable lesson to anyone who's considering a move to a rapidly growing area like Summerville. With growth comes temporary inconveniences like construction and increased traffic. But these growing pains are just that. They're temporary, guys. For those of you willing to endure the short-term challenges, the long-term rewards can be substantial. That's why it's crucial to make informed decisions when relocating. By reaching out to me, I can help you. I'm a local expert. I can help you understand the pros and the cons when it comes to finding the perfect spot that matches your style, your vision. Summerville is a wonderful place with much to offer. And with the right guidance, you can make the transition smoother and more rewarding. Remember, when you're an empty nester like the Bennetts or a family looking for a fresh start, it's essential to have someone by your side who understands the local market here. And I can help you navigate this transition. Reach out today and ensure that I help you make the most informed decision possible. Ryan McHugh, neighborhood expert, 843-226-5535. If you want to see available properties now, go to www.buyfromry.com. And by the way, if you give me a call or you shoot me a text, it really is me reaching back out. I don't know why everybody seems to think it's not. No idea, but it'll be me.